Fantastic.
Hello there, Master Hellish here, and welcome back to my OpenTTD Let's Play series, where this episode I'm going to try something a little bit different. Here on the left we've got our Let's Play. It is now 1985, and on the right we've got SJ Temple's Let's Play. So instead of comparing various different viewers and flicking through them and seeing what they are, I've got one particular viewer Let's Play here, and we're going to directly compare it with my Let's Play, which is in progress now. So let's take a look at this. First thing I notice is that my Hellishville is bigger than his Hellishville. It's a very stereotypical thing for me to say, I suppose, isn't it? But here we go. 4,400 in Hellishville and 3,045 in the other one. So let's have a look at the detailed information on that. There we go. We can see them side by side. So I'll be needing petrol at 5,000, and over here SJ will be needing fruit at 4,000. Now I'm not 100% sure I've got fruit sorted. I don't think I have. That's probably something for the next episode. Let's have a look at the GUI goals. Now at this resolution I have to flick the bar at the top between the various different options, and I'm not seeing the goal. Why am I not seeing goals? No goals. Okay, we're gonna have to do this. Click that. Click this. There we go. Put it back. This is gonna be a little bit of a pain. Maybe I shouldn't have put them side by side. Never mind. Maybe for most things it'll be fine. Probably. I'm sure it'll be fine. Yes. Okay. And yeah, there we go. Right. So, here you can see that the current status of things in the two different companies. So, at the moment I'm working at 99% storage, 99 for mail, 72 for food, 0 for goods, and 0 for fruit, and SJ 99, 99, 25 for food, and 0 for goods. So it's pretty much a similar thing going on, except I'm hitting some of the goods marks, and I think SJ hasn't quite got there at the moment with that one. Let's have a look. So we've both done the same number of months, which makes sense because we both started the same game at the same time, and we're at the same point. It is now the 14th of August, 1985. Now my town has growth sucked. 332 months out of that, where SJ has been not growing for 394. So there's not a massive amount of difference between the two in terms of the number of months of which they've grown. Now, I'm not really that interested in the stats comparable between the two. I'm more interested in the network and how things are handled, but I thought it'd be good to start off with that. Let's have a quick look at the money situation. We can see I've got 111 in the bank, and SJ's got 70 now. Overall doing pretty well. Train income's pretty good there. I've got a tiny bit of road income from a couple of trucks that I popped in, and it looks like, yeah, SJ hasn't actually used any trucks at all. If we have a look here at the company info, we can see the value of the companies, the number of vehicles. I've got 322 trains, only 109 for Temple, so it looks like the SJ is doing this a lot more efficiently than me, whereas I'm just throwing random trains all over the place. But let's find out a little bit more by looking at the network. So in my Hellishville I have 4 stations with a nice gap between them. We've got a 3 gap up here, 2 gap down there, there'll be a 3 gap there, and probably a 3 gap there. I don't know what happened to this station, it's out of position slightly. But never mind, maybe we can move that later. And if we have a look here, Hellishville is just cornered at the top corner there and on the bottom here. So not using as much of the Hellish the land around it. There's still a river here. There's still a bit of land there that ooh, now that's something that's different. We've got a glassworks on the edge of town here that I haven't got, so that's going to be difficult if SJ wants to lower the land near the glassworks. I've got my petrol station in, and there's one in there for SJ, and I've just noticed that there's another industry up here. A brewery has popped up by next to Hellishville. Well, if we zoom out a touch, let's zoom out that much and that much, we can see that there is a big difference in the railway networks. There is a lot of rail here for SJ. I mean, if we look at the rail tiles, I've got 34,000 rail tiles, and considering that SJ has got less than a third of the amount of trains, he's got more rail pieces than me. He's got more network by about 4,000. If we have a look at my main lines, we've got them coming in twos. Nice effective junctions going into this station here. This one, yep, that one that's quite a nice one. They're all the same here, I think, except this one, but this one isn't very busy yet. But it's all in twos. Everything's twos, tracks of two. We've got a nice little not long ago we did the upgrade round Ranville, where we punched out different sections of the track, separated it all out, made underpasses and slips and stuff to allow this whole area here to flow better. SJ's approach appears to be slightly different. It's like, give the train lots of options, allow the train to go on many different tracks. We can see here that there's tunnels involved, and there's one of the trains leaving Dreadingville North, which appears to be some sort of super hub. There's a transfer over here. I'm not quite sure what that's transferring, but there's many lines crisscrossing all over the place to facilitate trains being able to go wherever they like, pretty much is the idea here by the looks of it. And there's a good amount of redundancy. You can see these two trains use that junction all at the same time without any problem. Also, having less trains means that he's going to have less sort of like congestion on the network. This here is where it looks like two lines merge out into six to go in what appears to be six long tunnels back into two again. I'm presuming that will allow trains to select different tunnels and hopefully have multiple ones going on at the same time. That's a good idea. That's something that I don't use often enough. Having a track split out into multiple tracks to allow for long tunnels. I generally really try and avoid long tunnels as much as possible. Let's get rid of these end of year summaries. There we go. So let's have a look at the southern section here. The Hellish bridges. Oh my goodness, so there's a lot of bridging going on over here. This is again where I probably would have just outright... Oh, it looks like there's a bit of canal up there, and I don't know why. Is that canal? Let's query it. It is canal. I wonder why there's canal there. But these bridges, I would have just done a land bridge. You can see here, I'm not running boats in the area. There's no point. There's no need at all, and it's not a multiplayer game. If it's a multiplayer game, I might consider it, because I wouldn't deliberately cut off my competitors like that. But here, lots and lots of bridges. I mean, it looks funky. It looks kind of funky, and it's not affecting the trains in a bad way, I don't think. I mean, if we look at the bridge speed, 160 mile an hour bridge speed. If we look at the trains that are going over it, top speed 100 mile an hour. So the bridges can deal with it. Now, this is the services. This is really what I kinda would like to do more of, is have something like this where trains can get serviced better. Now, I very often go for double depots. I don't know if I've got any on this network. Let's see if we've got any double depots. We ain't got any depots around Hellishville over there. No double depots there either. I don't think I have any examples of double depots, and in my recent Let's Plays and live streams I have been doing... Oh, hang on, here we go. An example of a double depot. So a double depot will allow one train to enter the depots while another train is leaving the other depot, and the two things can happen at the same time. This over here is an interesting way of dealing with the situation. You've got 4 lines coming in, and those lines split off, creating an extra 2 lines. So here you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 depots servicing 4 lines. That adds a certain amount of redundancy so that if you've got trains zipping down that line, they can crisscross through this section and go through whichever depot is available to go to. Now, what would be more efficient? A couple of double depots or 6 depots like that? Well, a double depot can service 2 trains at once. One going in, one going out. That's perfectly fine. Here you can only have 6 trains going through. To do double depots, though, you need to have a space between the tracks because there's no other way around it. So I'm not sure how I'd do it. Should we do a quick test and see if I can think of a way that I would do it. Now, this particular game that's running at the moment will be reverted, so we're not saving these changes at the moment. We're just looking at what's going on. The next episode will start at the beginning of this episode, and we'll actually carry on playing. But to give us a bit of an idea, if I've got 2 lines going like this way, and then 2 lines, I think he had his separated by one going out the other way like this. This would be quite easily done, probably just by removing a short section, having it jut out and back in again. In fact, it doesn't even have to be that long, but if you double depot up like this, like that, you can then double depot like that, and if we do the same here, so remove the track, bring it out. I mean, I've probably removed a little bit more than I need to. To me, that's a good poor man's depot section. You can actually probably make it a little bit more compact than that. You can't do it here because then you'd have a 90-degree turn, and you can't do it there, so because you would have a 90-degree turn. So you could cut the entrance here in by 1, and you could cut the entrance in here by 1. But to keep it neat and symmetrical, that is the best I think you can do. And if you want to have the trains to have some flexibility, you just need to pop that on the front, like this. Make sure that your signals going into the block are just before it, and I would say that that is quite an efficient way of dealing with high volume trains going down a track and servicing them. So here we've got 2 lanes. Now, SJ had 3 lanes, so the 3-lane version of this is a little less compact. The only other way to do it would be, well, actually, come to think of it, I'm not sure I can think of another way of doing it. Because you're going out and you had to have to jut out a little bit more, that actually extends the amount which has to be out like this. So this is the 3-lane version. I don't know why I bothered putting that on the end. The only challenge here is that the train coming this way, you'd have to put that and that as well as that. It's not neat. It doesn't look as good. The other way of doing it would be to move the signals back slightly. You can remove this like that. Take that out. And then this one can go there and there. This one you'd want to come this way. So you give it an option to go that way. This one would want an option to come this way, but it can take it from there. That one wants to go straight up to here, so you do this. Now this one here also wants an option to go that way, so you'd have to then put that across, not there, but like that, but then it can take that way. This would actually technically work, but it just looks to me really, really horrible. I would personally prefer to bring the junction back one. Okay, so you're bringing the junction back to the point where you have no option. Now here you do one of two things. You either well, actually, having said that, this would normally be straight here and then pull in there. There we go. So yeah, there's two main options. Because that's an input, that can go there like that. I think that's how I would choose to do it. With a one across there and that there like that. You could do it SJ. This is my way of doing the junction. You could move it along forward one, but I think you would end up with 90-degree turns. So if you're disallowing 90-degree turns, you need to do it this way. If you're allowing 90-degree turns, you could push it forward along one. Let's just, for funsies, do it the SJ way over here. So the SJ junctions. SJ junctions are quite interesting. They're very interesting. Let's just put that there like that. Yep. Let's put that there like... Nope. There. So there's the entrance. SJ would do something a little bit like this. He would allow for all eventualities over a long junction. It depends which way you like the look of it. You might even go as far as to do this. Just because the way it kind of looks neater in some ways. But both ways work. One, I think, is slightly more compact than the other. Yeah, one is slightly more compact. And then, of course, to actually make it official, you would need the depot there, like that. Now, that wouldn't be a double depot. And you can't have a double depot there because of this. So that would actually have to be straight and come in here. That would push it back a little bit. But you get the idea of the double depot. I mean, I'm not an expert on exactly the way that SJ would do it. I just know how I would do it. Just a nice little junction like this. There we go. And there we are. So, yeah, double depots. This, though, is the equivalent of having 6, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, this would allow 6 movement on each train. If we have a look at SJ's, go back to his. He's got something similar. He's gone from 4 tracks, actually, here. Added another 2 to 6, and then he's servicing 6. So he's servicing 6 with 4 tracks. I'm servicing 6 with 3 tracks here. But either way, I just like double depots. I like the cleanness of double depots. You can see here that there's 2 trains still running on the lines there without interrupting each other. Both work well. Anyway, kind of went on a bit of a tangent there about depots, and we haven't even got around the rest of the network. Look at this, the Milk and Moo Super Hub. This, Moo, I'm presuming is livestock. We've got a dairy farm here, which produces livestock and milk, and he's getting livestock and milk coming out of there, but it requires farm supplies. I'm guessing the farm supplies are delivered along this line here. I have no idea where all these things are going. It looks like it's in progress because there's lots of lines that just seem to go nowhere there, and there's another depot thing there. I do like this. I do like those. Where does all this go? Wow, more depots, nicely labelled too. We're going down to more farms. Oh right, okay. So we're just bringing more and more in. Some of these railway lines go a very long way. If we have a look Yeah, let's have a look at the world map for SJ. There we go. And we look at... let's do trains and turn off... let's do company. Now I'm just going to quickly change its company colours to make it show out a little bit better on screen. Let's change it to red for a moment. Hang on, was that your vehicles? There we go. So you can see that this is the little town of Hellishville here. There's got a super hub here with railway lines going quite a far way, and it looks like they'll still be going a little way further. Quite compact and complex networks around Hellishville, starting to venture out, especially to the north around here. I've gone up to this lake as well on mine, so if we just now switch over to mine, we'll do the same thing. Bring up the map. And we'll just go plop, plop, that, like this. You can see there's the Hellishville there. You can see my lines a little bit more spread out. Coming over here a little bit further, but around the top of this lake like SJ. I haven't done as much in the south as him. I've done more to the north, he's done more to the south. So that's quite interesting there. Yeah, it's looking pretty good overall. Both networks definitely pushing the boundaries. This is not an easy game to play, this particular scenario. If we look now at the information here, I've failed more than I've succeeded on a monthly basis. And if we look at SJ, it's a similar sort of story. Still a very small percentage of the map. The map has been made huge on purpose. Now, let's have a look. So, SJ's ignoring these sandbanks here, but I'm guessing that's because he's just really concentrating on moo and milk. And there are more bridges across here going nowhere yet. So a lot of his infrastructure is in place to allow for further expansion. I mean, this is good planning. Okay, we've got 4 tracks in each direction going along here, hooking lovely in. I mean, you can see the coming out, splicing out, hooking round, good junctions and good planning laid out, which is filtering through quite nicely round and through in Hellishville. I mean, look at this. There we've got a nice little passenger drop-off service by the look of it, and then what appears to be some sort of possible shuttle service going round. That looks like a drop-off. This looks like a pick-up as the trains go around. This here, very not efficient. Trains have to wait a long time for another train to leave. This would be better either like I've done it or as a row-row. Row-row here, I would say. Definitely, with the amount of long trains you've got going through, I would definitely try and get Hellishville to a row-row. It's not about creating money, it's about flowing it through. Yeah, it's certainly looking very good. I need to start doing some more of my rail networks like SJ. I need to start doing some bigger lines with more throughput, and I need to start looking at the depots and so forth. So if we just go back to mine here, you can see that yes, I've got 2 lots of lines here, but they're independent. One goes up here. This whole section here, this is a nicely flowing area. Lots of short trains on lots of little lines that are all purpose built, but there's no real backbone to the whole thing. I thought that was it there, but that was my previous demonstration. Do I really need it, or just will a web suffice? Because we're not bringing in... Well, we are bringing in massive amounts of stuff, but it should flow quite nicely. The one thing I'm worried about is goods at the textile mill getting a bit too much for us. We might have to push out. This might have to become 4 lines. If it does, we've got plenty of room to bring it down here and expand either the station or maybe even still expand the station out this way and have the passenger service going there and the food service as well. But overall, I'm quite happy with how things are going. I feel like I could have done a little bit better, but I feel like I don't have the opportunity to make the network exactly how I want it because I'm constantly rushing to try and cater for these needs. And as you can see, Goods definitely not being catered for. Food is starting to slip. So those are the things that we'll be looking at next time. I hope you've enjoyed this little look into things. We did get a little hung up on depots and so forth, but I think that sort of thing is quite important when you're playing OpenTTD and looking at what different people are doing. I mean, that's exactly what these particular episodes are about. It's not just about how many people has SJ got in Hellishville. That's an important thing. That's what we're trying to do in this series, but it's also about how is he doing it? How is he doing things that are more efficient than me? Where can I learn from different things? Because trying to improve the way that I work and the way that each of us works will, can only make for better OpenTTD. So I'm always willing to learn and express opinions, and I hope that I have helped you guys learn more about OpenTTD through our exploration of it together. I certainly know that I'm a lot better at it in this series than I used to be in my first series. That is for definitely sure. But thanks very much for watching. If you've got any thoughts, ideas or questions, please as always put them down in the comment section below, and I will see you next episode for the 1 hour special live episode, and then we'll be cracking on with more goods and food and fruit and getting this Hellishville grown. Take care, and for now, goodbye.